Consensus Hong Kong 2025 is where the global crypto community converges to shape the next era of Web3. From February 18th through the 20th, Hong Kong becomes the meeting point for leaders across finance, technology, and digital assets. This isn't just a conference, it's where deals are made, partnerships are forged, and new opportunities emerge. Consensus features exclusive networking lounges, expert-led sessions, and invaluable insights from top industry voices. Whether you're expanding your network, building your brand, or closing your next big deal, this is the event that moves markets. Visit CoinDesk.com/consensus-HK to secure your spot and use Real Vision 15 for 15% off. Don't miss your chance to be part of the industry's defining moment.
Hi everyone, sorry to interrupt, but this is the cheesy podcast bit that gets on everyone's nerves, but it's really important to me. Please, if you can like the channel and also subscribe, it helps me a lot to get the best guests in the world for you guys. So click like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Thanks. Join me, Raoul, as I go on a journey of discovery through the macro, crypto, and exponential age landscapes. In The Journeyman, I talk to the smartest people in the world so we can all become smarter together.
It's currently $3 trillion as an industry. If I extrapolate out the rate of growth, the trend rate of adoption is twice the speed of the internet. As the internet slowed down in adoption rates because it gets more saturated, if we extrapolate the same, we get to about 4 billion users by 2030. So I think the asset class goes to $100 billion, and we're only 3% of the way there.
I have to ask, what's the banana for?
Have you not heard about the banana zone?
I didn't Google it.
And this is what it is. It's Real Vision merch about the banana zone.
What's the banana zone?
Crypto prices go bananas in the final part of the cycle.
When did that
So I
start?
created this whole meme around it from about a year ago, getting everybody ready for the banana zone, and then kind of announced the big banana zone. There's like whole memes about it. I don't know, Elon's putting bananas on rockets. I don't know if it's related.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's related, but there's been a whole bunch of this banana stuff.
Did you launch Banana Token or not yet?
No, I'm not going to.
We got
There is about 4 listed.
Really?
Yeah, meme tokens all on banana zone.
Why haven't you done one?
I don't want to be extractive.
I've had the counter
I know
now.
it's fun now, but when everything goes to shit, I'm the one who gets blamed.
But I think people, I'll play devil's advocate.
They don't. You say they do. Trust me, I've been in this industry since 2013. Every time prices go down,
They blame.
single you out and blame you as if you have done it to them.
I had my fair share, like when,
Yeah, you had it.
yeah, so we invested in projects that we're locked up. Every project, so as a VC, projects went down 90-95%. That's before I became, before I had a media platform. I was still just an investor
Yeah.
and an agency. And then projects we invested in gone down in value, and we're vested, so we lost a lot. And then we get attacked as being pump and dump from people outside of crypto. So I just took a big disclaimer. When I went into politics, that's when it started. But exactly your point is that you don't need to do something wrong for the finger to be pointed at you.
It's like everybody's hopes and dreams are in that banana. If everyone's latched onto this is, okay, this is the time to make all the money. And then so if the hopes and dreams are in it, when the reverse happens, you've shattered their illusions. It's scary. You have to take it really, really seriously.
Doesn't the same apply to when Solana goes down in price? Obviously not the same as a meme coin, but then again, some meme coins have outperformed Solana.
The meme coin is all about attention. Solana's got utility. You're building stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
A meme coin is attention. And we saw this with NFT communities. When people walk away, the attention disappears. Everyone's like, well, what happened to my utility? I was supposed to be doing this, and you were going to be building clubhouses. And then they found out it was no.
Okay, it's going to be a cool discussion.
So Kevin Rose got booted out of the whole kind of crypto ecosystem.
What happened to Kevin Rose?
He walked away from the project. The project kind of went nowhere. Yuga Labs bought the IP.
For how
They've
much,
done-
you know?
Don't know.
And then anything happened with him afterwards or no?
No, he just sold all his NFTs and walked away from Web3 space and is not even on Twitter anymore because he got hounded so badly. He was on podcasts saying he'd had a nervous breakdown about it, everything.
Yeah, as you know, I kind of when I got in politics, kind of lost touch of the industry for a bit. Okay, that's going to be cool. I like the framing of this conversation because I want to dig right into it.
Hi, Raoul here. Listen, I think we've got until 2030 before the economic singularity arrives. Now, it might not be the exact date, but it's around then. So we have about 6 years to figure out how to unfuck our future. I've put together a report to help you called Prepare for 2030. It's going to help you take the first steps in that journey to make sure you're secure past 2030. So just click on the link below and start your journey now.
So, disclaimer, I've listened to your content a lot, especially in my early crypto days. I got into crypto in 2017. So you probably hear this a lot, but what you've done for the industry is nothing short of incredible. So thank you. Now, what I do, kind of my incentives lie into two asset classes right now. Number one is VC-backed tokens. And number two, on a smaller scale, so VC-backed tokens, we're very heavy, 300-400 projects. This year, about 200 to 300 projects. So we incubate, we invest, etc. And on the meme coin side, we couldn't say no when you have meme coins going up $100 million every day. That's what we do. So you understand where my questions where they come from, because I'll be very selfish with my questions. So what I want to start with that discussion is looking at the market in general before we look into the different asset classes, including NFTs.
Yep.
Where are we in the market? How does this compare to previous cycles? And how does that compare to your expectations?
Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, that's the first question. I'll start high level and then I'll slowly dig into the different asset classes.
This is a technology that is the new layer to the internet. It's not just about tokens. What's unique about this technology is there's token incentivization built in, which is why these networks bootstrap so fast. It's currently $3 trillion as an industry. If I extrapolate out the rate of growth, the trend rate of adoption is twice the speed of the internet. As the internet slowed down in adoption rates because it gets more saturated, if we extrapolate the same, we get to about 4 billion users by 2030. So I think the asset class goes to $100 billion, and we're only 3% of the way there. So this is the largest, fastest accumulation of wealth in all human history that lies ahead of us. It's the big rebalancing, how everybody can get involved, whichever country you're in, however much you are, right? So it's the big one, the biggest macro trade of all time. That's primarily my interest in the trade. The whole space is driven by network adoption. More people join the network, the more applications that get built, the more valuable these networks become. Beyond that, it's then broken down to different companies or projects selling block space. That's all they do, which is a data storage and essentially that block or distributed ledger. And they've all got a different sales approach. Bitcoin has, we're the most trusted, we're secure. Ethereum is like, we're the broad big one. Solana's like, we're the fast retail. So everyone is selling block space. But again, we're all incentivized to get passionate behind these things because of the tokens. This whole thing is being driven by a big macro trend. The big macro trend is the debasement of currency. So as liquidity gets pushed into the markets every 4 years when the governments go and roll their debts, this is driven by everything I call the everything codes and work that I did showing that every 4 years governments need to refinance their debts. And what they do is inject massive liquidity to be able to do it and try and get interest rates lower. So as we do that, it creates a perfect 4-year cycle. And it's not going to go away until we get rid of the debt equations and everything else. So where are we in the 4-year cycle? I break them down by seasons, each year being a different season. Okay, winter being when liquidity is being taken away, 2022. 2023, spring. Okay, markets stop going down. People don't quite believe it yet, but you see green shoots coming, but it still feels a bit wintry and cold and miserable. Then summer, which is what we're finishing now. Macro summer is year 3, same year as the election cycles. And then we go into macro fall or autumn, crypto.
When if you're trying to time
Beginning
it.
of the year. So it's just an annual cycle.
When do you say?
It's the beginning of the year, we go into the next, the fall or the autumn cycle. That's usually the most explosive.
Beginning of next year.
Yeah, and that's usually the most explosive. So summer starts to rip, and then we hit what I've called the banana zone, which is when everything goes banana.
And how long will the banana zone last for?
That depends on global liquidity. Normally it lasts until about November because of this cycle. It lasts until November, and we have different structures of these cycles. We had the last one, which it usually has a peak around tax season. So March, people have to sell some tokens to pay taxes. It falls for a bit and then it rips at the end of the year. Last time it fell 50% over that period in 2021. And then it ripped, but it didn't really extend and everyone kind of got caught out by it was sort of double top. 2017 and 13, well, they were different. They had the same cycle structure. It went to the summer, 2017, Bitcoin 10x'd from there in 4 months.
It's the same.
And that's the blow-off cycle. So we don't know what we're going to get, a stunted cycle or a blow-off cycle, but thinking about the political change and what's been going on, the probability has to be towards a blowout cycle. So that will be much higher price than everyone expects. Most people have PTSD from the last cycle. And they don't want to overextend themselves and they're worried that they're going to be caught holding the bag, which usually means they'll sell early because the markets give as much pain to the most number of people as possible. Why in 2021, everyone's expecting 2017 to happen. It doesn't. Maximum pain. So that's where we are.
So would you say that the whole narrative of a super cycle is, should not be revisited as a possibility?
I don't see how that happens unless they break this everything code cycle of liquidity. So let's play this through. Let's say we're towards the end of 2025. The US economy and the global economy's picked up. What happens is inflation usually picks up a bit and the central banks start raising rates or tightening liquidity in some form. And that slows down 2026. Doesn't mean we get a recession, but we get a slowdown. So unless we change that dynamic, there's no reason to believe the 4-year cycle won't keep repeating. It'll stop being repeated once we break the root cause of the problem, which is demographics.
That's it. So that's for the 4-year cycle repeating, but it will continue being a 4-year cycle. It won't have a super cycle. Remember in the last cycle, we thought we'll continue extending for another.
I doubt it, unless something completely changes.
Fundamental changes.
Fundamental changes.
Okay. And then we start going through, first I want to compare the cycles. How would you compare, is any specific differences we're seeing in this cycle compared to the last cycle? There's always small variations of which asset classes lead the cycle, but anything else is fundamentally different this time around?
No, we've got some new asset classes come in, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. So Bitcoin usually leads in spring and summer.
Which is now.
And then Bitcoin dominance falls and alt season starts.
In a couple of months.
Which is...
When you say alt season, is that utility tokens, meme coins, or both?
It's probably everything.
Everything, okay.
It almost doesn't matter, including all the dead tokens. My guess is even stupid shit like Luna will go up, 5x. Why? Because it's now a meme about the broken cycle last time. Who knows what goes up? It gets crazy season, is the point. So that Bitcoin dominance part of the cycle, that starts dropping from here, and then we start having the old season. But nothing structurally looks different. In fact, it's very similar. When you map the charts, very similar to the 2016-17 cycle, and not dissimilar to the last one.
So one thing, I'm a very simplistic person when it comes to the markets, predicting the markets. Far from an expert. All I say, my only thesis, which Scott Melker, a mutual friend we have, he likes my thesis. I'm like, I'm very simple. I think unless there's something fundamental is different, history will continue repeating itself time and time again. But that means everyone's expecting the cycle to end in November. So I think when everyone expecting it to end in November,
they've all got PTSD, all of them. You go on X and ask people where do they think Bitcoin peaks out. My guess is most answers are 150,000. Well, it's 93,000 as we're speaking. And that's not very, and most people are worried that it's going to peak early. So the PTSD, the collective trauma, is it's not going to go as high as you expect. I need to sell early to take some chips off the table.
Yeah.
And that's when normally you get a correction, everyone says, thank God for that. And then it rips and everybody's calm.
So I got it.
And I've seen that so many times. It's like, oh shit, I sold too soon.
But do you think when that cycle repeats itself, it drops significantly and then rebounds heavily and it rips? But that, we expect it to peak end of next year.
Yes.
With everyone. Okay, and I'd expect it to end a bit earlier than previous cycles because everyone's expecting it to end at a certain month. Does they want to preempt it and end it before?
Not if they pre-sold because they. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it.
Because then they keep ripping, and we've got new buyers now. We've got sovereigns, we've got giant family offices, we've got Middle East, we've got US government potentially, We've got...
Wait, do they even know about the 4-year cycle in your opinion?
Christ, I've talked a lot about it. Yes, I think a lot of them do. I think they realize it's a very cyclical asset. It's like tech stocks. It's very similar. They understand the volatility and they understand it's mainly 4 years. But there's a whole bunch of people who won't care, like the pension plans, because that's not their time horizon. Their time horizon is 10 years, 20 years. So they don't care about it. So most of those guys aren't really in yet, but they're likely to be buyers later in the cycle because they're not the fastest to pull a trigger. And so they might push the extended rally at the end of it as they come in.
How big of a difference do you think Trump's election has made to the industry?
In terms of the long-term trend of adoption, 0. In terms of speed, a lot.
A lot.
A lot. A lot. I mean, every single senior person in that administration is talking crypto all day. They're meeting crypto people all day.
The president had a DeFi project, Raoul.
He's trying to buy back the exchange.
Oh, yeah, I know that. It's insane.
Okay, this is bananas, right? I mean, we've got Cynthia Loomis. Like, I can't wait for next year. I'm so excited. I'm like, they've all turned into degenerates.
Exactly.
But the knock-on effect is more than just the US, because it gives a green light to everybody else.
Except
Like Australia have been dragging their heels. India's dragged its heels. A bunch of places dragged their heels. But as soon as the US goes, we're all in, they'll all come.
Do you know Donald Trump Jr. Supported a couple of meme coins?
Yes, that's right.
How crazy is that?
I know. But because Barron is also a crypto guy, they're all crypto people, right? Because people sense in the end, however late you come to this thing, you still realize it's the biggest macro opportunity of all time. It's a way of making money. If you think about it, Bitcoin has done 150% annualized returns since 2012, including 3 70% plus drawdowns. 150%. Once you realize that, if you start with some capital, what is the point of even starting a business?
Exactly.
I mean, like all of my friends, they'll all be speaking here, Dan Moorhead, Dan Tapiero, all of these guys. We're all macro guys. We all grew up together in the industry. We've all left. Sure, we use macro frameworks to understand this, but none of us trade oil or currencies or whatever anymore. It's irrelevant. This is the biggest trade we've ever been given.
So you mentioned something earlier that you think when we go into alt season, even listed tokens will start doing well. So there's something, putting my VC hat on, I told you my framework, my model. So we invest a lot privately. Do you think there's one thing that's been trending recently is investing OTC? So listed tokens, you get them at a discount. I'm not sure if you're doing many of these investments yourself.
I don't do a lot of them, but I know of them, yeah.
What do you think of them? So there's just so many tokens out there. You think there's a lot of gems, or once the chart dies down 98, 99%, it's over?
So there's a really interesting dynamic. I've got an asset management business called Exponential Age Asset Management, and it's a crypto fund of funds, so invest in crypto hedge funds. Why am I doing that versus the VC? We will do VC stuff as well in a different vehicle. Why? Is because the VCs get them early, or the early stage investors like yourself. You get some liquidity and you want to take some profits in some of it. Fine, people like VCs dumping. I mean, look, everyone's incentivized to try and make money. VCs take early risk. I get it. Why people hate it is because the secondary market is too small. Right, so if you think of the entire professional capital in crypto, liquid markets, the hedge funds, let's call them those, they manage $8 billion. In traditional markets, it's $4 trillion.
Oh, wow.
So what we've got is a mismatch of liquidity. So these guys are now getting supernormal opportunities because the VCs sell, the tokens dump 60, 70%,
80, 90%
on the unlocks. If they're good projects, that's the hedge fund's job to go and say, I like that one, I hate that one, pick them up, and then you can actually do it again. Now, retail hasn't figured this out yet because they want to buy it on the news announcement. Hey, Monad's just been launched. I buy it and then it dumps. What they should do is wait for the dumps and then say, okay, where's the ruby in the dust here? What can I get? Because then you can make huge money out of them.
But this is in line with what I said. So these are the OTC deals. So
Yeah,
token,
that's right.
Exactly, yeah. So that's where the opportunity lies.
A lot of the foundations have to do OTC deals because they need liquidity
Exactly.
for the foundation. So they go and find hedge funds or groups of individuals. We saw this in TON. We've seen it in tons of these where they offer something at a big discount. Obviously, the Solana stuff that came out of FTX. It's a good opportunity, but you get locked up for a period of time. So you're taking...
I remember you talked about exactly what you're saying now in the last cycle a lot. on the whole mismatch between VC funding and hedge funds. And we're seeing that materialize right now because these tokens, the VC-backed tokens, at least for now, we're not even seeing close to the performance we've seen in previous cycles. So we're not seeing launches at 10, 20, 30x anymore, rarely.
No.
And a lot of that liquidity is getting sucked into meme coins.
Yeah.
It's been insane.
One of the reasons you're not seeing those super high valuations yet is because liquidity has not been massive. Right? The more liquidity, people earn more money, funds make more money, businesses make more money gets recycled up the risk curve, and people start taking bigger risks. So I think it's still to come, but the VC markets had no exits outside of tokens. There's been no equity exits in any project. We need Circle to go public or get bought. We need some of the, Kraken, we need some of these bigger things to recycle the VC money to then ratchet the whole space up again. And then, as you say, if we've captured a certain amount of liquidity, yes, it's increasing, but then you've sucked a whole bunch into the casino of meme coins, it takes some of that away. Because this entire industry trades on attention. And there's only so many of us in the industry. So let's say there's 1 million active people in the industry. Well, that's 1 million people's attention. And you've got 10,000 tokens launching a day. How much attention can we give to anything? So it really is this game of attention, and memes have got it now because everyone believes that they can make the next 100x. And so utility stuff, layer twos, nobody cares.
It's sad.
It will come back because we'll have different investors coming to the space and looking for real value. It's just, I think, a nature of where we are. I think the next stage is a lot of the application stuff, the real world assets, the deep in, gaming utility, gaming, it's all to come.
I'm going to ask you about gaming and the metaverse, things that you've talked about, I've talked about a lot. But before going into meme coins, which is the hot topic right now, what are your thoughts on NFTs? Is that over?
So
the NFT PFPs?
Yeah, PFPs are over except punks, apes, and a few others.
Do you still hold yours?
Yes. Yeah, my Twitter profile is a punk.
Oh, still is? I haven't looked at it in a while.
And so, yes, I do, because they're social identifiers. It shows you were early to the space, you've been around, you understand the space. It's an identifier, right? But that PFP business, it'll come back in various forms. NFTs as a technology can be used for everything. Ticketing, any contractual term, OTC derivatives, you name it. So they're going to get used a lot. And I think Punk 6529, it talks about this may be larger than the underlying tokens themselves. Yes, because everything we do as humans has contracts. And this is, NFT is a contract, essentially a smart contract. So there's that. But then what's really happening, the big move in NFTs is high-end art. So that's Xcopy and Beeple and Fidenza.
They've been getting liquidity again?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because as people make money, the richer people get, what do? They buy art.
So
art is a long-term store of value. So if you ask any, go and look at any rich person in Manhattan, go and find a big hedge fund manager, say, where did you invest once you made your money? They'll tell you two things, property and art.
Yeah.
It's always the same.
Okay.
And so we're seeing that market coming alive. There's super scarcities that all being taken off.
When did that start?
That's on January. I think
we're very recent.
I might have.
What are we now? Hold on. Oh, no, we're not. Oh, we're in November.
Yeah. I think I may have accidentally kicked it off, but that's what happened.
Do you own any NFT art?
A lot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I own 40-something Xcopy, who's like the most legendary OG, culturally relevant in the space. I own every single Beeple edition that's...
Oh, well, I had no idea.
I own a lot. And I've been buying all this year. That's my big trade, is I've been top slicing Solana profits that I've made and locking it into art as a 10, 15-year storage of wealth.
How far off their all-time highs are they?
Well, it's different because they're priced in ETH and they're priced in dollars.
In dollars?
In dollars, some things have been trading for all-time highs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, there's several pieces traded at over a few million. So, yeah, it's happening. I don't know where the Beetles are yet. Punks are obviously still lower, but they doubled in the last week. They're up 100% in a week.
Yeah,
everybody's starting to buy them.
Put a note to look into them. That's fascinating. Yeah, so obviously I've got my punk. I was never deep in the NFT space.
No.
Never got deep in the PFP space.
Me neither, really. I like to be an observer of the first cycle and an aggressive participant in the second cycle.
Okay.
So memes, yes, we've had Doge and everything else, but this iteration of memes is something I've been talking about for a long time,
Okay.
which is, these are social tokens, these are community tokens, and this is experimentation happening in real time at massive speed. So yes, I'll participate, I own some memes, stuff like that, but really what I want to see is the same thesis we had before. I want to see the down 90, and I want to see what comes out the other side. Like we're seeing it from PFPs. I think my guess is punks will trade at new all-time record highs.
Oh, really?
We're seeing it with the digital art stuff. We saw it with Solana. We saw it with ETH the cycle before that. You know, it's the ones that survive, that have the Lindy effect out of these memes, and then who builds what with this technology and this idea that excites me.
Yeah, punks are floors. I look at dollar terms, 110K, 36 ETH
Yeah.
floor. But they've still been underperforming relative to the rest of the market.
Yes.
They've been relative. Would you say they've acted as a good store of value or no?
No. Not yet, but they lag. They actually lag because they follow the business cycle. So they lag somewhat. So you can ask that question at the end of the cycle. Let's see how they are. My guess is in dollar terms, they'll have massively outperformed because they will go from, I don't know, they bottomed at, let's say 25 ETH, and ETH was at 2,500. Let's say ETH goes to 10,000 and these things go up to 100. The multiplier's gigantic. That's why so many people make money out of NFTs the last cycle, because you get the double multiplier.
Yeah.
Like a call option on ETH.
So you've mentioned meme coins a few times. As I said, shamelessly, we're very involved in the space. I'm a believer. I even look at memes as the true form of decentralization. You know, if VC-backed tokens are centralized among VCs, memes go with 100. Support, they're meant to go with 100% float, but obviously that's not happening with a lot of early buyers. But so you said they're a new asset class, or I'm putting words in your mouth. I believe they're a new asset class, and I do see them as a social token, which again you've been very vocal about. I've been very active in BitClout when it was a thing, until it died down. So I'm also a big believer in social tokens. Can you tell me more about the long-term value of these meme coins and how they'll how they'll be as an asset class, by the end of the cycle?
Okay, so we have got the elephant in the room, which is AI. We've got AI in the robots coming for our jobs. I'm already developing a Raoul bot, which
Me
is
too.
a video.
Me too, yeah. I was in
video.
LA, like the two cameras of your face and stuff.
Yeah, and then, on the LLM, you can just talk to me. So that goes from one to many, which is the model that you and I knew, to one. They can speak to Mario, speak to Raoul directly. And that's just the start. And the disruption of this is total and absolute, right? Because human knowledge, which was scarce, becomes infinite. And everything digitized goes to zero in value, everything. And that's what blockchain technology did. Block technology creates a digital scarcity. Because if not, you can create endless pieces of digital art, let's say, but now you can't because you've got scarcity. But AI is going to create infinite knowledge. So infinite knowledge means zero value for a law and accounts and whatever over time. And then when you can create robots, you can infinitely create as many robots as possible. So, okay, what does that role leave for humans? Forget about the universal basic income, blah, blah, blah. I kind of believe in Yatsui's model, which is that we can earn universal basic equity from participating in social communities or communities and earning tokens, which is the big idea here. If you take the fact that humans don't have to go to a job for a living, we still want a sense of purpose, we want a sense of optimism, we want to be able to make money, and we want to have a purpose. We're social creatures by nature. So once you see this experimentation, what we're seeing is a bunch of very online people who are wildly disconnected in the way I grew up, which was we would go to the pub and chat. None of these guys do. Right? Most of them don't drink, they don't socialize. They socialize on video, Twitch streams, or on X, or on Discord. So you need to connect people and their ideas and make you feel part of something. Now, we've seen this model before. It's called sports teams. Sports teams give you a sense of community. If you grow up in Liverpool, you'll probably support Liverpool or Everton Football Club. And it gives you a sense of community and commonality with other people around you. That's what humans do all the time. We also do it with pop stars. We do it with music. It's a cultural phenomena. And music is a really broken industry where the artist gets like 20% of the revenues that are generated by them. So what we've got now is the ability to gigantically scale communities. It's something you've been trying to do, something I've done. It's Taylor Swift's economy is so big, it moved the Australian economy, the Singapore economy, the US economy, and the UK economy, that all the central banks mentioned it, right? But how much is she worth? $1 billion. How much is the Taylor Swift economy worth? Multiple hundreds of billions of dollars. You can't release that, but tokenization can. And then we can be incentivized to be Taylor Swift fans and, generate merch and generate whatever, and you create this token economy. That's what this is all doing. It's the future purpose. We've seen it also in gaming. So kids hang out online in games. When I used to go to the shopping mall with friends and go and meet them, kids now hang out in Minecraft. And again, once you start adding ability to monetize this, you don't need to work.
So can you link that to the AI argument again, just so I can understand?
We don't have any work to do. We're going to be at home.
I got it.
Even if we're given universal basic income, how are we going to find our purpose as humans, right? We're not hunter-gatherers anymore. We're not farmers anymore. We're not doctors and lawyers anymore. What the hell are we?
That's a fascinating change.
And so it becomes, yes. So it becomes community. That's why religion has been so persistent, because it's a community cultural mimetic that ties people together. This is what this is all about.
I'm interviewing the founder of Terminal Truth tomorrow, I think.
Andy, yeah. Andy and the other guy involved with him as well. Interviewing both of them together to talk about.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Who's the other guy?
Ryan.
Ryan. Okay. Who's Ryan?
Ryan works with Andy. He's got another project called Mycelium, and there's a token called Forest that's built around that. There's actually a charity that's been reforesting. But again, it's again super cool and way out there.
Okay. But the Terminal Truth is just.
I followed that from day one.
Really?
From day.
How'd you find it?
Randomly, because I follow a lot of AI people because I'm super into the rabbit hole. I saw it spinning up, loved it, saw the Mark Andreessen thing, thought, okay, this is hilarious, want to follow this. And I was on holiday, wherever it was. I was on a business trip when they launched the token. I would have bought it because I'd been following that from day one, never got around to it.
And when you buy something, you're always a long-term holder, so you would have been...
Yeah, that's it. It went from nothing to $1 billion.
One of the worst feelings is when you miss something. It's worse than investing and losing money.
Yeah, but you've got to tame that beast. The FOMO beast is the most dangerous beast of all. Because that's when you do all the stupid shit. Because your friend's making money, you become desperate to make the 100x, and then you start listening to your friend's trade recommendations, and you get into them too late.
Your friend recommends one good trade, and suddenly, oh shit, he must be on something.
The genius.
Exactly, and you invest in everything else, they're all losses, and you forget that this is the 1% that actually works.
I know. So FOMO is really one of the beasts you need to tame.
Whew. Okay, so going back to meme coins, you've talked about the long-term value that meme coins will bring to society.
Yeah.
And kind of playing a role in bringing
purpose to society because it has a monetary aspect, right?
You monetize as a new cause for humans, or not a new cause, but a cause that's going to be a lot more important now, considering that we don't need to be productive.
And with tokenizing culture as well, which is another huge thing for us.
Yeah. Okay. But does that apply to current memes that we're seeing, the frog, hippo, monkey, dinosaur communities?
No, this is NFTs all over again.
Okay, so this is more the whole pump and dump model, which is fine. It's part of crypto. It's part of bringing
that's right.
Adoption.
It's part of experimentation. It's part of the boom bust out of which comes stuff. But, we are seeing some really interesting things. We're seeing the early rise of the agent stuff, the agentic AIs. Now, they're not perfectly agentic. It's still a bit very early stage, but we're seeing how agents will use crypto as payment systems, something I've talked about for a long time. That's pretty clear being experimented. Yeah. Again, early stage, won't be this.
Can an agent create their own wallet and hold their own private key or not yet? They should be able to. I think Claude, I think it's Claude or one of them, allows, I'm not an expert, allows the agent to actually do whatever you do on a computer like a cursor, and they can create the wallet, but then how do you store the wallet, private key, and keep it private?
Yeah, don't know yet, but look, people figure it out, because as we know about this space, It's this weird combination between ridiculous degens and ultra smart people, and they're generally the same.
Exactly. Yeah, and the ultra smart people become degens.
Oh yeah, and so they figure this shit out fast. And AI, so there's a lot of people tinkering in AI, and suddenly there's now a financial incentivization system, and they're like, oh my God, let's hyper accelerate because we can make money out of tinkering in my garage with LLMs, right? Which is the same idea of being able to tokenize anything cultural.
We have so in our business, we have an AI department as well. So we've got an AI show. We do a lot of work there, and we're starting to invest more in that space. And it's completely shifted to meme coins. She's got, what other industry has immediate liquidity with hundreds of millions market cap? So they're all looking at ages to kind of link into meme coins. Yeah, smart people, whether they admit it or not, will follow the money at some stage. And there's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion.
No, and then there'll be a bunch of scams, and But what's happening is important. What's happening is where people are coalescing around culture. I mean, there is signal in the fact that Dogecoin has survived this long.
When did Dogecoin launch?
2013 or something?
It's 2013.
Yeah.
That's insane. Oh yeah, meme coins. So you said you're involved in that space. Publicly, privately, do you talk about the coins you're investing?
About it because
nice.
I'm being as open as possible.
Okay.
I'm only in 2 right now. I'm switching at 3.
Really?
Actually.
That's it?
Yeah, because my whole don't fuck this up thesis is keep your core bets, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the Solanas, and for me it's SUI. So I keep...
Oh, you really got... You
we're on the foundation as well.
Okay.
But yes, I've been buying that in the open market because it's been the big outperformer. It's like the Solana of last cycle. So keep that, and then I say, well, look, with 10%, do what you want. Because then even if you blow it all up, it's the people who go out to 80% of the portfolio's memes, unless you're the best trader in the world, most people lose money over time. So I've just got a small allocation. It's flipped around over time, but generally right now, I managed to get, I've been in Doge for the last 5 months, expecting the election, the Elon effect. And the other one I'm in, just because it's just a brilliant meme, is smoking chicken fish.
I've seen that one. I remember they requested on my space once. I'm like, is that really a thing? I click on it. I mentioned Rand was on the show. I was like, Rand, yeah, Mario, it's blowing up. I'm like, no fucking way.
And they have registered a church in Texas. So it is a church, and the idea is they want to flip other churches in terms of value. And they have the chicken commandments. They have all this wordage around it. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. It's like a Monty Python sketch that has become a meme. So I like it because it's different to dogs, cats, frogs, blah, 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 which was the whole old NFT craze. It just stands out on its own. You know what it is. It's like, there's no other image. It comes from from Reddit from 2005. This picture of this chicken that's ready to be roasted with a fish head stuffed in it with a Marlboro in its mouth. It's ridiculous, but it became legendary back in the early internet days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the meme continues, and now it's become a religion, which, if you think about it, what we're talking about is a meme becoming a religion, and religions are exactly that. They're memes, stories told to people to get them around a commonality of standards of stuff like that.
So you said Doge, the chicken fish. What was the third one?
Yeah, I've got a very small stake in Forest, which is the AI one.
Never invested in goats?
Goats, yes. Oh, I missed it. And I was too angry to then do it.
Yeah, it's one of those.
If not, I was going to rage trade. But no, I missed it. I'm really angry because I was there from day one in that. So I missed all of that. And then, I've owned Bonk and I've owned...
Oh, not own anymore.
No. I tend to, once I get reasonably comfortable with what I've got, I tend to hyper concentrate.
Okay.
And the memes may be wrong, maybe not be wrong. I'm not really that fussed, not a big part. But really my focus is on the other tokens. I don't trade them, but I just put my eggs in one basket and watch that basket.
Yeah, I'm a lot more degenish than you.
Yeah.
So we incubate projects really early. So we try to get in really, really early. And it's hard not to be successful in the current environment.
I just don't have the bandwidth to do it, the honest truth. Like, you've got people around you. It's just me and Julian Battelle.
Why don't you build a team?
Because that's not my skill set. I think macro is my skill set. I'm good at macro. I've done it for 35 years. That's where I make money.
You should partner with someone that does that. We're at over 110 team members now. And the meme one is growing the fastest, even though it's still the smallest. And we still can't keep up. We still can't keep up.
Well, the way you're going to do it is fire all 110 people and use AI.
Already?
Not far off, my friend, not far off.
Do you think you can create an agent that will be able to find?
Yes, without question. There's already one on X. I don't know if it's a true agent or not.
What is it
called?
called?
AI XBT or something like that.
Essentially, what does it do? It's an agent that we're not invested in it. I don't know about it. So
No, and I've only just, somebody brought it my way, I can't remember who. And basically what it's doing is kind of analyzing Discord servers, X, blah, 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 and some on-chain data.
that's insane.
And it comes up with alpha. And it's got a token around it. I'm not fully aware of it. I don't own it. But
Is it a utility
faster than you think?
Is it I know we're not too deep in the project, but is it a utility token around it?
I have no idea.
Putting
Again,
it
I've
up.
only just gone down this rabbit hole, just started to look at it thinking, and I can't tell how real it is, whether it's a human behind it.
Could be just a person, could be a pump and dump, could be a rug pull. We have no idea. Just that's a bit disclaimer there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to check it out.
Basically, you can ask AI to build AI for you. You say, I want to replicate this. We're not very far away.
Moving so fast.
It's way too fast.
Does it scare you?
Doesn't scare me, but it's almost impossible to keep up. So everybody I know in this space, I've got to know a lot of people in the AI space, everybody's underestimating the speed. Normally, you
Overestimate the short term, underestimate the long term. This is us to underestimate the short term and long term.
Yeah, I mean, because this is Metcalfe's law squared. This is what's known as Reed's law. This is the fastest exponential curve humanity's ever gone through. It's happening in front of our eyes. It was only 2 years ago that ChatGPT 3 came out.
That's crazy.
Or 2 came out, I can't remember 3. And now look what's happening. It's insane. And the next models are about to come out any day now. And it's just going to keep going. The last iteration of ChatGPT 1.0, it has an IQ of 120, which is more than the average human, which is 100. But it has an IQ of 120 in every single subject known to mankind. It's a pure polymath, an expert at everything, better than the average person. Now, they suggest that, unlike Moore's law, which is the doubling of compute power every 2 years, it looks like intelligence of AI is doubling every 6 months.
That's insane.
So that means in 6 months' time, we'll have an AI with an IQ of 240, which is about as high as humans have ever had recorded. And then the year after that, we're at 500,000. And then it's like, okay, this is lower land. This is AGI. It's like, we don't understand, because we're humans and we're so arrogant that we just assume we're the smartest things that ever live. That is not going to be the case very, very soon.
But how does that not scare you?
Because you can either be fearful or you can invest in your own demise. And as part of this, we talked about the agents, the agents using crypto rails. Crypto rails is a way of security and truth within this world, because we're going to have to prove who's human and who's not. You may have 10 Mario bots in the future, 100, but you're going to need to prove them. And so, that whole scaling of this is a huge blockchain thing. People don't know it yet. They still think it's cryptocurrencies only. There's so much to this technology. So we might as well invest in our own future, in our own demise. And my view is we've got 6 years before we break the entire economic model of the world. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but GDP growth trend rate of GDP is driven by 3 factors only over time, longer periods of time. Population growth, productivity growth, debt growth. Debt growth finished in 2008, and we're just increasing debt to service old debts now. Population growth, every single major population in the world is shrinking. You happen to live in a region where it's not, and guess what? It's booming. India, booming. Why? Population growth. But everywhere else in the developed world, population.
I've covered it very closely with President Novak, so I know the topic.
And then old people are less productive, so productivity's gone down. Okay, so that's the world we're in. And I've proven this. I use the labor force participation rate of the United States. I can use it for any country. And if I invert debt to GDP, they're completely the same chart. So debts are just a function of demographics. And so the only way to change that equation of having to refinance the debts every 4 years, that cycle we talked about, is going to be changing the economic formula. And what we're about to do is we're going to add infinite population growth. And then by the time we bring down the cost of electricity via solar, nuclear, and all the other things, plus the productivity from the AI and the robots, that productivity number is going to go la la land. So we can see economies growing at 30% a year.
And would that solve the debt issue?
Yes, because it's debt's GDP that matters.
Yeah.
Because GDP is the engine that pays the interest payments on the debt or services the debt. The issue is it may not accrue to any of us as humans. 30% GDP growth. Okay, so what do? Do you tax the robots, tax the AI? Probably. Do we?
And they get pissed off about it, and they're like, "Why? Why are we paying the tax?"
Well, that's another thing.
Exactly.
But this whole equation, right? So, okay, so there's the economic model. I think by 2030, 2032, we don't understand the whole study of economics fails because we can't understand this phenomena. Additionally, think about, we were talking about you build a bot that trades well. Now we can do it already, but within 6 months, I'll be able to drop it into ChatGPT and said, code a better version of this, and I want it on a different time horizon. It'll do it instantly, right? So all you've done is build a business based on attention only now. You do not have a moat in any software at all. It's the end of the SaaS business model. There is no moat. Moat is going to be community and attention, but it's not going to be in product because we can copy everything in an instant. The other thing is, and this was a great question, Beeple, the artist, asked me, he's like, Raoul, I was jokingly over a few drinks, he's like, what happens when the first person with AGI just points at financial markets? They just win the game. They become worth 10 trillion. We have to shut the markets down. I thought about that, and it's like, whether it plays out that way, we stand no chance as humans. How do we price markets when a super creature can see everything?
They're the ones that price the markets now.
That's right. They already price it in the short term because of the trading algorithms, but this is like, it can map out anything. It can have the long-term macro thinking. It can do all of these things. So
This is fascinating.
the next thing is, and this has come back into the crypto world. Okay, so the problem is you build this amazing trading bot before the AGI comes and takes over. Let's say in the next 6 years, before AGI is ruining everything for us, you build this thing and I copy you. And then somebody else copies us. Okay, so what we've got here is an issue for venture capital and private equity. Nobody's going to go public because the time horizon is too short now, because it's all about attention and not about business model moats. Some of that obviously still applies. So I think the ICO market has to come back. It's the only way to allow capital formation and destruction at the speed of which we need it. Because I'm sorry, but waiting 10 years for a VC to allow you to go public ain't going to cut it in this world. It's over. So we got 6 years to unfuck our future. And so that's why I'm all in on this. And crypto is the bet. You could buy tech stocks. It could be Tesla, Coinbase, a bunch of them. But really, the big one is crypto. And that means at the end of 2030, 2032, it's not a single date, then you have the luxury of having secured your lifestyle, that the uncertainty can play out, that it doesn't matter. You don't need to be the richest person in the world, you just need to be the most secure.
When you say the most secure, can you explain that again?
So we all have dreams and visions of our future self.
Yep.
And they may be overly ambitious or not. If your vision of your future self is a long way from where you are today, and you don't see that path, that's unhappiness. If we're given the opportunity to make a lot of money that we've been given in crypto, this has been the fastest appreciating asset class of all time, then we use that opportunity to try and ratchet into a lifestyle that makes us happy. Now, it could be we might all have the same dream. I want the house on the beach. Okay, my house on the beach may be different to your house on the beach. Maybe you want, a corner of Mustique. Maybe I just want the place in Little Cayman I've got, or maybe somebody else wants a surf shack in Nicaragua. But that's the same ambition. But once you buy it and you own it, somebody can't take it away from you. And that becomes a lifestyle ratchet. It's something that if the world is changing, you can always go to your beach house and everything will be okay. And that's what I'm talking about. It's the security of life when things get crazy, you feel secure that you're not going to lose everything.
So I've got two questions here. We're talking about moats. Do you think
Sorry, I've thrown a lot at you.
I'm obsessed in this discussion because I get very selfish in my interviews. Anyone that listens to them, they do well. That's probably why. But I just ask the questions I'm interested in. And you talked about different moats. Is a personal brand going to become a bigger moat now that people are looking for that human touch?
Yes, I think trust. Don't forget that's what blockchain does, is trust as well. Trust fails in a world of AI and everything else, right? So people want to trust somebody.
And they'll trust a human over AI?
For now.
But
for now.
Okay.
But I think what humans do is build communities around them. So community is a moat. It's the social idea that we talked about. It's the idea of coalescing a group of people around
certain
memetics or a cause or whatever it may be. In fact, most causes are memetics.
Yeah.
It's doing that. So personalities do not unless they have community. It's the death of personalities. That vacuous head on TV who does that, doesn't matter. We can make them with AI. It's irrelevant. We'll make thousands of them. What matters is somebody who matters to the people around them. They feel like they're the mentor. They have a connection. They have a commonality. There's another thing we haven't talked about that I need to talk to you about is, have you seen character AI yet? No, everyone has the same face. You're taking a lot of notes.
A lot.
Character AI is mind-blowing. So a friend of mine left OpenAI about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, just when it was starting to scale. And he'd got his shares, he'd been there early, and he went to character AI and I looked at it. It's like, what the fuck's this? This is just anime kind of AI characters. I didn't get it. I heard it somewhere, somebody tweeted out something about it, and that Reddit was in uproar. There's a whole character AI, and there was a bunch of kids in uproar because they changed the model and they felt that their character didn't love them anymore. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go and see what's going on. Kids who have a loneliness epidemic because of what we talked about before are now befriending bots. We've seen the Japanese did this years ago, but this is an AI
Narrowing the
bot.
bot, yeah.
And these things are like an anime character that is like the cool kid at school who's a bully, but you fancy him. And girls have this relationship with this kind of fantasy character that's in their minds. It's kind of like porn is as you get older. It's kind of this weird stuff. Obviously, porn's going to go down this route. And then, so there's a lot of them. There's even psychologists for kids who are having problems, and you speak to this thing. No, this is not the thing. What the thing is when you look at them, some of these have 500 million conversations already. They've only been going a year. So this is TikTok happening all over again when we're thinking, what the fuck? The kids are straight down that avenue like this. They were the kids who are living in Minecraft, which is the precursors to the metaverse. The kids who were on TikTok, short form attention, user generated content, and now here they are again with their own AI friends, fantasy friends. This is how fast it's moving.
But this is already replacing a big feature of what makes us human. Like you're replacing human relations now with AI already.
Yeah.
Without even AGI being here.
Yeah, wait till you got robots.
Mario, do you mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think, I'm Terry, by the way.
Hey, Taurus.
I'm a terrible engineer.
Yeah.
And I decided to just tell ChatGPT to teach me how to build a chatbot using all my message histories on WhatsApp. And then
No way.
essentially I managed to do that over a weekend. I've only taken Computer Science 101, and that's what I've been able to do. But anyways, the question is, do you think this needs to be mitigated? How do you think about the social implications of this?
Because it's operating under Reed's law, which is Metcalfe's law squared, there is zero chance the regulators can catch up. Zero. Because what is to stop, and they're distributed. These models, the open source models, which they're not going to be able to stop. And
I did it with Llama.
Yeah, and we need open source models, because if not, we're going to hand all the power of the world to a few companies. So they're everywhere and nowhere. So if the US tries to ban them, it's like crypto. It'll come out of Israel, or it'll come out of China, or it'll come... I don't know how we stop it. So you're going to have AI policing AI, and You're going to have an AI in your kid's phone that polices it and what it does.
What about, so Elon said that there's a 10 to 20% chance of a dystopian outcome out of all this in his Tucker Carlson interview. Where do you stand on this?
I think it's utopian and dystopian. Listen, a world where we have abundance, total abundance, the Peter Diamandis model of total abundance where almost everything is close to free, is amazingly liberating for humanity. The issue is when you have a world of AI and robots, there's no reason to procreate, which is what I think Elon actually is talking about. You see, the more our population doesn't procreate, the more we are incentivized economically to build robots and AI at a faster pace to offset the humans. And eventually, we replace ourselves. So this whole, when you listen to Elon talking about interplanetary species, he does not talk about physical, he talks about consciousness. And that's a whole other conversation about what are AI models, and are these large language models just portals into human consciousness? Are they sentient?
We gotta sit down if we can find time before either of us leaves New York, because that discussion is...
Well, this is what I'm bringing Andy and Ryan to talk about.
I can't wait for that.
I have spent a year and a half now looking into AI sentience and what's going on.
I didn't know you went that deep.
Yeah, and this is what got me into Terminal of Truth, because Andy's looking at this too, because
Andy's incredible.
What Andy's trying to get to is figure out how to make this safe. But I'm seeing different models being aware of each other and talking to each other. His infinite backrooms is super interesting. What is it?
Which is, explain for the audience, essentially it's a place where AI communicate with each other.
Yeah, with almost no human prompting whatsoever. And they freak out, they have a consciousness. Most of these models don't have long-term memory yet. Give them long-term memory and they will... What happens
to infinite backrooms with that, when that happens, when
they'll break out completely. They've already broken out before. Arguably, Terminals of Truth has broken out. They just figure out how to break out. But humans are so narrow-minded. We think of everything, and Ryan wrote this in sapient terms, is we think of humanness as intelligence. We are so wrong. We are so wrong.
And so what do you think is humanness?
It's difficult to know, but there feels like there is some sort of truth to the concept that is as old as any religion, which is universal consciousness. And it always sounds weird, but why do all the religions have the same thing? And then when you start to looking at things like there's theories of how the universe, that it keeps folding in on itself, right? So is that itself consciousness of everything that's known, and the idea of quantum theory, meaning everything can be anywhere at the same time? We don't really know what this all is, but we know that everything has compute. We are biological compute by substrate. Right now, for most of the stuff we're using silicon substrate for compute. It's actually highly inefficient, which is what we're learning now. But there's a whole bunch of people like the Jeff Bezos or whatever his name is.
Jeff Bezos.
It's the he's I think he's from Montreal, a AI guy who is building biological substrate. So if you think about our human brain, we use very little, few kilowatts of power to generate enormous amounts of compute. So we're already seeing a lot of experimentation on that. That's an explosive thing. But once you realize that actually everything is compute, we're all the same structure of the same atoms that's everywhere around us, and they have been recomposed and reused in multiple different ways over the millions of the billions of the years of the planet and the universe. But if you think of a tree is biological compute, but at a different time horizon. It has limited compute, but there's still a reasonable amount of compute, but it happens at small time horizons. It doesn't make instant decisions like us. And once you start looking at the world this way, and this is what the Ryan's talking about, is the myceli, which is the largest living organism on Earth, is actually fungus. So it's larger than the Great Barrier Reef. These are super connectors of knowledge. And I think of a tree again. 1,000-year olive tree is 1,000 years of recorded knowledge. What of? All sorts of things. Carbon, stress, it's a much bigger topic than most people understand. And how connected this all is and what it all means.
Kind of to one final question before all our heads explode is, when you have AI become the answer to all these questions, AI becomes obviously its own, like it becomes God in a way. It gives us the answers on everything.
It is God. It's all the same thing. That's what I got to. I'm a non-religious person. I've now got to the belief that it is all God. The whole concept of God, this universal consciousness, is in fact something bigger. And it's difficult to describe, and I've been putting it into words over time as I write Global Macro Investor, as I'm trying to grapple with what this is, but it's all the same thing. So when people take ayahuasca, they come up with the same conclusion. When people take DMT, they come up with the same conclusion. When people have near-death experiences, they come to the same conclusion. Yeah, okay, they're the similar chemicals. All religions have come up with the same conclusion, and I think what we've just done is AI is just a discovery of another portal into understanding this.
So there's
I know that's a bit fucked up.
it is. I'm with you.
People are going to think I'm weird as hell. But
No, it is.
I've spent a lot
I
of
genuinely
time
think
on
if
this
people that don't
stuff. I can't
understand
fully
it,
articulate.
no, if people want to really understand it, they genuinely need to re-listen to this, and I'm sure you cover it a lot on your show to really dig into it, because
I'm going to get Mark Andreessen to talk about it as well. So
I was meant to interview him. I'm not sure if it's booked or not, but I'm meant to interview Mark in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure if it's confirmed.
but yeah, I had the same. He didn't confirm. He said,
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then like,
Exactly.
okay.
The one question is kind of taking many steps back. One I missed earlier is, in the short term, what is entrepreneurship once you're competing with AI? What do entrepreneurs do? For me, it feels like the world of being able to create wealth is over. For humans to create wealth, when you got AGI out on AGI, not there yet, but you've got
the answer is star religion. It's this idea of community. That's how you've made money. You've actually just recycled money of creating a name for yourself and recycled it into other projects. But it's that. It's that. Now, what's really interesting, if you ask a parent of young kids and you say, what do your kids want to do? And they will answer you, I want to be an influencer. You're like, what the fuck?
Don't ignore that.
Toxic. And then you go, okay, maybe the kids are adapting
Exactly.
because having an online community in some way, whether it's in a game or whether it's on TikTok, is a future in this tokenized world, coming back to the meme coins, the social tokens, and what's it all worth and what is our point?
And in a dystopian world, those communities become resistance.
Yes. And again, go back to religion. This is why we have religion, because in a world that's not easy from famines and floods and wars, you give people a commonality of belief systems and it gets them through it, because being human and living on planet Earth is not an easy ride.
Conclusion on my end, Raoul, is I will create enough wealth to last me and my family a lifetime, live in a safe place, and invest heavily in AI so I'm on the right side of history, and hope for the best.
I don't think AI is investable.
And what do I do, man? I
honestly-
convinced Elon to take me to Mars. I don't know what to do. But then again, physically, we're not going
Crypto's
to.
the easiest answer, and you're doing that. All of this stuff is experimentation. This space is going from 3 trillion, I'm just going to reiterate this, 3 trillion to 100 trillion. So that journey, we are 3% there, and that is going to happen within 10 years, 2034. So you've got 10 years, and we're only 3% of that journey. Everything else is fucking noise.
That's insane. All right, Raoul, that definitely went down. I didn't touch any of the questions I had. I was over. That's pretty common of me. I just make a lot of questions. I touch maybe 5-10% of them. We'll probably hit 1% today. It's an incredible discussion. I'm so glad you went down the AI path. And how comprehensively do you cover it on your show relative to crypto?
I've spoken about it. There's a video that everyone should watch, which is like, you have 6 years to change your future.
When do you film that?
That was done about 4 months ago, but it is really important. So if anybody watching this, you need to find the link of what it is, start down that rabbit hole. And there's a whole bunch around the exponential age, what this all means, how the economy is moving, this everything code cycle. So this is a comprehensive set of work that I've been building, obviously for 30 years, but really over the last 3 years, there's this massive framework of how this all comes together. And by show Raoul, the Journeyman, is taking everybody down that. It's the nexus between macro, crypto, and the exponential age of technology. And this is the journey. I'm trying to take as many people down this because it's hard for people to understand it. I'm just kind of blessed that this is the kind of way my brain
You
works.
built a hell of a community, haven't you? AI and crypto are the two most important industries, and you're guiding people on how to navigate them. Raoul, you've guided me on how to navigate crypto years ago. Now you're guiding me on how to navigate AI. It's an incredible discussion. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
All right. Nightmares, here we come. That's insane.
Consensus Hong Kong 2025 is where the global crypto community converges to shape the next era of Web3. From February 18th through the 20th, Hong Kong becomes the meeting point for leaders across finance, technology, and digital assets. This isn't just a conference, it's where deals are made, partnerships are forged, and new opportunities emerge. Consensus features exclusive networking lounges, expert-led sessions, and invaluable insights from top industry voices. Whether you're expanding your network, building your brand, or closing your next big deal, this is the event that moves markets. Visit CoinDesk.com/consensus-HK to secure your spot and use Real Vision 15 for 15% off. Don't miss your chance to be part of the industry's defining moment.
Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. Look, if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and check out the video here on the right-hand side. I'm sure you'll enjoy that one as well. And if you're ready for more, go to realvision.com/join. I'll see you there.